Well, as it has just hit Disney Plus, I thought I would give Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny a check. Right? It is directed by James Mangold, who co wrote the film with David Koepp, uh, John Henry, and Jez Butterworth. The film was produced by bum, bum, bum. Who produced? We've got Frank Marshall. There's Kathleen Kennedy, Simon Emmanuel, and Zachariah Alui. It was executive produced by Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, co-produced by Candice Campos and Anthony Dixon. It's associate produced by Blake Simon and Nathan Woods. And it is line produced by Marco Valerio Puccini. John Williams took the reins on the music, while Pheidon Papa Michael handled the cinematography. Andrew Buckland, Michael McCluster, and Dirk Westervelt edited the piece. Nina Gold was on casting. Adam Stockhausen, production design. Art direction, we have got Peter Dorm, Tim Dutton, Martin Foley, Oliver Goodyear, Kate Grimble, Charlotte Malene, Izona Rigu, Quinn Robinson, Ollie van der Vilgeberg, Jake Hall, Samuel Leake, Andrew Palmer, and Elika Scales. Tanya Boyd, Joe Gracemark, and Anna Pinnock took care of set decoration, while Joanna Johnson was on costume design. So this time around, our cast. Well, we have got Harrison Ford back as Indiana Jones. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is Helena, his niece. No, his granddaughter. That's it. Niece is something different, isn't it? I believe. Ronaldo is played by Antonio Banderas. Marion is Karen Allen. Salah, John Rhys-Davies. Mason is played by Shawnette Renee Wilson. Colonel Webber is played by Thomas Kretschmann, who, I believes in another film we looked at this week. Basil Shaw plays Toby Jones. No, Toby Jones plays Basil Shaw. That's right. Ah, dear, oh dear. Boyd Holbrook is Kabar. Oliver Richards is Hawk. Teddy Kumar is played by Ethan Isidore. Dr. Voller is played by Mads Mikkelsen. Durkin, played by Martin McGonagall. Aziz Raham is played by Allah Safi. We've got Archimedes, played by Nazir Nemarazia. Mandy is played by Anna Francoloni. Popeye is played by Antonio Irori. A young Helena is played by Holly Lawton. Professor Plimpton, played by Guy Paul. Fran, played by Harriet Slater. Who else? Jabari, played by Ali Salah. Aliyah, played by Amara Khan. Professor Dona, played by Billy Postlethwaite. Mm, mm, I think that is our main group of people, I would probably say. So, the gist of this film experienced the return of legendary hero Indiana Jones in the fifth installment of his beloved swashbuckling series of films. Finding himself in a new era, approaching retirement, Indy wrestles with fitting into a world that seems to have outgrown him. But as the tentacles of an all too familiar evil return in the form of an old rival, Indy must don his hat. Oh my gosh. Oh, apologies, people. Um, Indy must don his hat and pick up his whip once more to make sure an ancient and powerful artifact doesn't fall into the wrong hands. I mean, I would question that opening statement, right? Experience the return of legendary hero Indiana Jones in the fifth installment of his beloved swashbuckling series. I think, in all honesty, most people look at that series as a trilogy. I mean, you look at it as a trilogy and you're happy at that. Anything after The Last Crusade, you're just like, I can't hear a word you're saying. I don't believe anything else was made. That was it. Listen, Crystal Maze was horrendous, right? That was so bad, so freaking bad. And I think a lot of people were just like, no, I'm not touching it. I'm not going near it. But there was word that this was better, right? That's what some people were saying. I don't know if it was, to be honest with you. I don't know if, this improved anything. I think it was the same quality, to be honest with you, right? Which you want to love these things, right? You want to love these things, but it's just, it seemed rather forced. The story seemed, it didn't really feel necessary. You know what I mean? It just kind of seemed that they were really desperate to get this new one out there. So, we're just like, all right, we're just going to run with this. And I don't know why. There felt like there was a lot of retreads, you know, a lot of retreads and little callbacks and nods and winks. I mean, like, oh, remember when we did this before? You know, I remember, oh, when we had this thing. And do we need MacGuffins all the time? I don't think you do. I don't think it's necessary. If you've got a cool story where something works, fine. But this whole Dial of Destiny thing just dear, oh dear. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. I really wanted to like this film. I really did. It wasn't coming in being like, I'm gonna hate it, right? I only want the first few films. I'm gonna just despise this. No, that was never it. It was never it. Like, I really want to love everything I watch. You know what I mean? Just embrace it. Go in with an open mind and just be sucked into a wonderful story. That's what I wanted. But unfortunately, you just get this story, so we start off with Indy and Basil in the past. Now, one big thing with Basil, right? At this point, Indy, we've seen him do the Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? He's done the Temple of Doom, probably the Last Crusade. So everyone knows the scrapes that old Indiana gets into. So if you're sending anyone on a mission with him, it's not going to be an out of shape little dude who can't really do anything. You're gonna send someone that can handle themselves in any kind of situation they may find themselves, right? So you're just like, why is Basil there? Like, what are we doing here? So then, we just get these fight sequences on trains and things like that, and it's fine, but we've seen it before. Right, we've seen, walking into a carriage full of Nazi. I'm not meant to be. Like, we've seen all of that before. We know there's no peril because it's the start of the film. So Indy ain't gonna die. Right, we know that. So it just feels like this overly long sequence for no real reason. And there's a bit at the beginning with a bomb. And you got to say, if you're in a room like that, you're dead. You know what I mean? There's no survive. Like, what the fuck? There's no surviving that thing. No surviving it. Yeah, but this is a film of some ludicrous shit. Like, okay, we look at, he's retired. So he's probably, I'd say he's definitely over 65. You know what I mean? You think in the film. He's retired, but he's probably in his 70s, maybe 80s. Now, a one-punch knockout it's a stupid thing in films. It's something that is just like, listen, we watch boxing, UFC, MMA. You know that a one-punch knockout is not an everyday occurrence. There's certain fighters with that just motherfucking steel in their hands, but it's not every person. And there's people that can take a punch flush on the chin and they just walk forward. But in this, you've got Indiana Jones, 70, 80-year-old Indiana Jones knocking people out with one punch. You've got Helena knocking people out with one punch, right? But then they're both getting hit, but staying conscious. They're not getting knocked out with a punch. You're just like, wait, what's happening here? If anyone's going to go out, it's going to be fucking Helena in Indiana, right? It's just weird. It's weird. It's stupid. We have this new character called oh god, what's the little dude called again? Teddy. Teddy feels like he's this film's short round. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, we need another adorable, cute little ethnic character, right? That's what it just seemed like. There's like, why is he there? You've got friggin' he's Helena's sidekick, but you're just like, I mean, that's a weird situation. What is this? You know what I mean? Like, we have this whole thing of characters and you think they're dead, right? We see something ridiculous happen. So it's just like, obviously they're dead. Oh no, they're not. Right? That just all the time. It's like everyone is stupid because we have them do something and you're just like, okay, well, the bad guys must know, right, what you're going to do. But then they're lollygagging, taking their time, not, putting in place anything to counter what might be waiting for them. And then you have bad guys who have people dead to rights, but then they're like, no, actually, don't kill them. Bring them with us. Like, why would you? Why would you bring them? Like, well, like, how is that helping? You know, this film could technically have been over straight away. You know what I mean? But it's just like, actually, don't do that. Bring them with us. Oh, we need to do this. We need to do it. And you're just like, there's so much waiting, right? They've escaped, but then they stand and look back. And it's just like, why would you wouldn't do that? You would just keep them running. But you waiting, looking back, now they know where you are, and now they're gonna fuck. Like, just so many things. There's a scene with a tuk-tuk. This tuk-tuk it's like it's made out of fucking Kevlar or something. It is, well, it's basically a Tesla Cybertruck because it's taking so many hits, so much damage, you know, turning on a penny, right? It's got so much durability. You're just like, yeah, a tuk-tuk would have fallen apart. Those things are not durable, right? They're cheap, they're rubbish. You know what I mean? Like, it's not taking all of these hits, taking these shots, going over these bumps, going downstairs. It's not happening. It's not happening. Like, the acting, it just felt like everyone's going through the motions, right? There didn't feel like there was any heart in this film. That's a harsh thing to say. It's a harsh thing to say. I know, right? I understand that all of the people working on this film put their souls into making this film, right? It's not like they're looking to make a bad film. You know what I mean? But I think when your source material is just so flim flam, it makes it really hard to deliver something meaningful, you know? So we just get this thing that just pales in comparison to any of the first three films. You know, and then, you know, obviously there's probably one of those first three that you think is the best, and then you've got your second and your third. But anyone's third film in that original trilogy is so far superior to this and its predecessor. And that's a damn shame. We have these sequences like the whole diving thing where it's just like, why was this necessary? It's just like you're injecting something that doesn't really need to be there. And I'm talking about what happens in the water, right? Because you want some sort of peril. But again, it's not really going to be peril, you know? And like, you think this film's in the 60s, right? It's in the 60s because we see there's the whole moon thing. So binoculars in the 60s, not the best. So the scene with the binoculars, I'm just rolling my motherfucking eyes, being like, that's not a thing. That wouldn't happen. What the fuck are we doing here? This is so silly. You know what I mean? It is like, yo, wait, what? What just happened? What just happened? And I will say, like, there's the last part of the film. Like, well, there's two bits to it, right? In that last third, where you've got the whole time thing. And I will say, right, the sentence, the silver dragon, is so played out. When you think of ancient times, there is so many myths. There's myths about condors. Remember mysterious cities of gold people? If you're cool, you will remember, right? Yes. But there's so many like big flying things, birds, you know? So why do we always go to, oh, it's a big silver dragon? It is so played out, right? It's like when you have something in the future and someone goes forward in time and they're like, oh, where are the jetpacks? Right? It's just one of them throwaway statements that we're just like, we've heard that so many times. Can someone write something else, please? Can we? Right? And just that whole sequence, it's just why? What was the need? What was like this does nothing for the film. But there's so much that does nothing for the film. You know, it's just dull. Right? You have a bit where you're meant to kind of have a belief of there's a peril, there's a threat, but before they show it and Teddy's reaction to it, we've already seen what's actually happened. So it's just like, you can't show that first bit. You know what I mean? You need to show what happens, Teddy's reaction, then show the thing, right? And be like, boom. I mean, not that anyone really thinks anything different, but like it's just a pointless sequence. And then the very end of the film, the very end. I mean, the love is, age appropriate, but what the fuck? What was that? It was so limp. It was such a limp ending. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know what was happening there, right? It it feels right. What happened at that end must be what a girl feels like when a dude has spent all night telling her how he's gonna break her back, right? How he's gonna bust her out, right? I'm gonna be all up in your guts, baby. And then nothing, right? That micro motherfucker does nothing, right? That's the disappointment that chick has, is the disappointment everyone must have watching that end of that film, because you're just like, is that it? Oh. I know. I know. It's harsh. I apologize, people. I know you put your blood and your tears and your heart into it. It just, you were let down with the script. You were let down with the script. And script guys, right? I know you thought you were writing a solid script, but there's way too much fan service, right? I know you're living being like, oh, I love those first films and I want to write something similar, and I want the similar moment to when that happened and blah blah blah. But that shit never really works. You need to blaze your own path, right? You need to do new shit. And this felt like an advertisement for that we can't retread. We gotta do new things, you know? And I suppose it doesn't really help when everything looks so badly CGI'd, right? I can hardly see. And I even saw it was CGI'd. You know what I mean? So that's how fucking blatant it was, man. Yo. I mean, the most thankful thing is that this is the last time we see Indiana Jones. Because it would just be, to wheel that character out again would just be sad. It would be so sad. So I'm glad this is the last film. I'm just sad I had to watch it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is now on Disney Plus. If you don't have Disney Plus, you can get it anywhere you want. I'll say this: if you loved or just liked the crystal skull, Dial of Destiny will work for you. That's all I can say, people. That's all I can say.